It was a very flat and emotional dressing room after the game on Sunday. So how have you gone about picking the players up this week? And have there been some frank discussions to ensure that this season doesn't fizzle out?
Yeah, first and foremost, the first thing is looking forward. What's gone is gone, and everything's about looking forward. We've got an FA Cup quarter-final. You could have a 15, 20-year career and not playing too many FA Cup quarter-finals. So that's been the focus this week. In terms of discussions, just expectations. In terms of what the players are wanting, and where they think things have slipped for themselves. And then my expectations about how I'd like to work, what I'd expect from them, and just making it really clear that if no one's at it in training, if someone's not giving their all, they won't play. They won't play. It's easy for me to say that, in the remainder of these 9-10 weeks, we want, regardless of results, now we want standards and application, if you like, to get back to the levels which saw the team have all that success and just start laying those foundations for whatever comes next.
Is the game this weekend almost the perfect game in some ways, because it is an FA Cup quarter-final, and as you mentioned, it's a chance to make this season something very, very special still?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of motivation, in terms of the size of the game and having a carrot dangled for you, then it doesn't come any bigger. So it's a great game for us. It's a great game to just give everything in. It's a one-off game, It's something that anything can happen on that day, regardless of the form and the expectations of Chelsea or for Chelsea. It's a one-off game that anything can happen with.
Obviously, you're in charge at the moment until the end of the season. You've done this role before at Barnsley, and when you took over from Lee Johnson, you had tremendous success there as well. I'm just wondering how you go about things when you're in caretaker charge. Does it have to be a different approach than if you were a permanent long-term manager?
First and foremost, no, in terms of, say, me, myself, I know how I'd like to work and the standards in terms of what we expect and what the players expect. If you're not going to give everything, you're not going to get better. If you're not going to apply yourself to every aspect of your development or your career or your profession, you're not going to get better. So from that point, it's exactly the same. In terms of if it's a permanent one, a permanent role, and when I've gone in a club's permanent manager, you may be looking to change a lot more things, or you've got the scope to change a lot more things. So that's probably the big difference. So whilst you can't make as many changes possibly going through the door as someone new, we certainly need to start changing the feel of the place and get smiles on people's faces, players, staff, after what's been a difficult few months, culminating in a really tough week last week.
We've had a statement from the club today following the racist abuse aimed at Ryan Brewster on Instagram. First of all, how is he? And what more can be done to eliminate racism from the game?
Right, it's a question that you hear asked all the time. What more can be done? And my answer would be there's got to be a hell of a lot more done. I don't know, the powers that be, social media platforms, there's got to be a stance made at some point. It's too easy to hide. It's too easy to just put things out there. There's no accountability. There's anything can be said, anything at all, and that's what hurts. And if you're talking about the profession that we're in, people are wanting engagement with players and people are wanting to understand players, but things like this are just going to drive everyone involved in the game further away from the fans, and rightly so. How can people expect players who are getting abused to engage more with fans? It's going to drive people further away. So while there's a lot of work being done, and the fact that it's getting flagged up is a start, we're nowhere near where we need to be with it, because until we get that accountability, until we can reprimand every person who does something like this, then we can't stop.
Last one from me. We've had the findings of the Sheldon report this week. The FA called it a dark day and apologised. As a coach and as a father as well, do you feel that the systems are now in place to make sure that this never happens again, or does more still need to be done?
Yeah, well, in terms of even from when I first started coach, if you think about from when I was playing a youth player or when I first started coaching, the systems and processes in place now are totally different. You know, there's so many processes you have to go through as a coach coming into a club. So again, from me stepping back into under 23s, it's still an academy role. The amount of safeguarding work you have to go through before you can start your post is immense now, and rightly so. So there's a lot more education out there, there's a lot more support out there, and there's a lot more, how could I put it, direction to where if there is any issues people can turn. So there's a hell of a lot in place which makes things easier, and then the skill and the trade-off is then how do you manage that safeguarding while you're still wanting to drive, especially under 18 players, and prepare them for the profession in the game. So as a coach there's a lot to consider, but certainly the processes and structures that are in place now are excellent.
Cheers, thank you, all the best on Sunday.
Right, mate.
Cheers, thanks.
Hi Paul, it's Adam from Radio Sheffield, good to speak to you again.
Hi Adam, okay?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. We'll start with some team news ahead of the weekend. Have you got anybody else back from injury for the Chelsea game?
Yeah, Dids is trained today, which is good for us. So we obviously monitor him now after training and see how he is, see how he's come through it. So that's a bonus, because everybody knows we're light on bodies, especially in certain positions. So yeah, we'd love to have everyone fit. I'd love to have everyone on the training ground, and hopefully we can get back towards that before too long.
What's the latest with John Egan?
So he's just still rehabbing. He's been out on the grass today, first steps. So in the short term, he won't be with us. We've obviously got this game, then an international break. So that'll be a big 2 weeks sort of from now onwards to see how far we can get him along, and hopefully he progresses really well.
And in terms of Sandre Burger, I see he's been called up by Norway. Does that suggest that we could see him back in a red and white shirt before too long?
We'd hope so, yeah. He's not fit, so he's going to be a while before he's back playing football, but he can continue rehabbing and progressing while he's away from us, because he's not been in the building. He's been doing that anyway away from here, so his programme doesn't change, if you like, but again, he's another one. The sooner we can get him back, the better.
In terms of international call-ups, clearly been plenty for England under-21s, Wales, Scotland, Ireland. Just shows you the kind of quality that remains at the club, and hopefully to give that boost that can come together and pick things up. Yeah,
definitely. And it's, people always say that international breaks, it's great, you can get them on the training ground, but we've got a lot away, so we'll not have, out of the probably 11 who play Sunday, we'll have a lot of them away. So it's a different situation in international breaks. It's great when the players go away, they get a different feel, a different voice, hopefully lots of game time, and the boys that are left behind, we pick up and push them. So yeah, it's fantastic for the boys who's involved. As I say, it probably shows as well the sort of splitting the squad, and the fact that we have got some senior players who've been on a great journey together, but we've also got a lot of younger players in around the 21s age groups that should and hopefully be big talents for many years here.
And from your role with the under-23s, I mean, Daniel Jevison getting called up to the England under-18s, Antoine Hackwood with the England under-17s. This is great recognition, isn't it, for the academy and for future players at the club? Yeah,
definitely. And we've just had Hassan Ajari come back from the Asian tournament. So yeah, it's good. It's good. We want that. I've been really impressed with the work that's gone off in the academy and this season we've been in, and I've been really proud to be a part of it. It's been good. We've been pushing each other really hard. Staff's been pushing each other, and I think the environment in there is a really good one and a really strong one, where if we get things right as a football club and invest in the areas that need investing and provide that pathway, keep pushing the opportunity, then there's no reason why in 3 or 4 years' time you could be seeing some of those boys as regulars at Bramall Lane.
I know the club talked about incorporating youth between now and the end of the season in the statements that came out last weekend. For you, is it going to be important though to pick the right moments to include those youngsters in with that first team setup? Yeah,
well, the right moment is if I think they're good enough. So I could honestly say I forgot all about that it was Illiman's debut when I put him on against Leicester. He's been fantastic training and playing with me, impressed all the first team staff up until this week, and I felt it was right to put him on, and it'd be the same with the rest of the boys. The one difficulty that we've had compared to, say, other Cat 2 academies or Premier League clubs is with the COVID restrictions and COVID regulations. We're strictly bound by Premier League guidelines, and we've had to split academy and first team down the middle, which has meant less opportunities for those players to train and be involved and be around the squad. But in the meantime, while we've had the players, we've been pushing to get them up to speed. So there may have already been more in a normal season in and about it, but we've sort of made the little bridge, if you like, now, and the players been in and around the bench, and obviously Liman getting his debut, and there may be some more between now and the end of the season. But if the boys who I've got at the minute, I know there's not many on the grass, but if the boys have got the minute are training and applying themselves properly, that's what we want, 'cause it should be even harder for the young boys to get in.
Now the dust has settled a little bit this week. Have you seen a good response from the group after the events of last week, both on and off the pitch?
Yeah, they've responded well. We've had some conversations about what they expect going forward, and tried to really raise the demands that's been put on them, because there's a lot of football left to be played, and two choices: roll your sleeves up and get stuck into everything, or roll over and just wish the season away. So I've tried to make it really clear, and the boys understand that if they're putting the work in on the training ground and players are giving 100%, they'll get game time, because that has to be a minimum. Results and performances, hopefully we can improve, and we'll improve off the back of that, but there's no time for anyone to feel sorry for themselves, and we just have to keep applying ourselves. Fantastic game this weekend, and then for the remaining 9 Premier League games.
I mean, really emotional interview by Billy Sharp after the game last weekend that sort of backs up what you were saying. Do the players owe it to themselves and to what they've done over the last years to raise their game and to finish the season as well as they can? Yeah,
of course they do. And it's tough. I've been in dressing rooms similar to that when things happen. They've been on an amazing journey together, but the players are still here, and that's sort of been my message. I've stepped up and just said I'm here for you guys, and if I'm not pushing you and giving you my best by demanding from you, then I'm letting you down. So that's how we're trying to approach it. Yeah, it was an emotional week, said, for lots of reasons, but we've got to look forwards now, and the players have to protect themselves and their careers moving forward.
Have you found working with Jason Tyndall this week and that extra sort of new, fresh voice within the setup?
Yeah, Jason's been good. So obviously he was down at the game Sunday, but only came in and met the boys on Tuesday. But Jason's been good. Yeah, he's in obviously from now to the end of the season. Want his energy, want his experience, different voice for the players, a different person for the players to go to and lean on, and that's important. That's important. Some players don't want to speak to the manager who's picking the team. I understand that. Some players are comfortable doing that. So we need to have those different voices for people to go and speak to.
Obviously, when you were at Barnsley, you had tasted some cup success and some Wembley trips and all that kind of stuff. So you've seen firsthand what that can do for a season. Does it show the impact that a positive result this weekend may have on the remaining few months? Yeah,
look, my priority has been, and it has to be, everyone's role at this club now between now and the end of the season is to try and enjoy and put smiles on their face. It's been a tough few months, I keep saying it, but we need to look forward. So everyone's got a responsibility to enjoy these remaining games. Me as the man picking the team and motivating the staff, and the staff as the people working with the players, pushing the players. So that's at the forefront of everyone's mind. Now a good result, a cup run, a cup semi-final does the job for you. Let's not kid ourselves. So from my point of view, I'm absolutely desperate to get through and get to semi-final. It does our job for us. So that is first and foremost. It's the game in front of us, yeah, but it can also change the whole outlook of the remainder of the season.
Because there is a prospect as well that there could be fans inside the final. So after the season that everybody's had, it'd be some way to finish things off.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to fans being back in full stop. whether that's me in watching with the fans, whether that's me stood on the sideline. We need fans back, 100%, and we're certainly, from my experience of Sheffield United, from my experience of Bramall Lane, and whether I've been watching a game there, whether I've brought a team to play against Sheffield United there, Bramall Lane full and the team at it is a tough place to come, and the fans play the part in that. So I can't wait for the fans to be back in at Bramall Lane, and I'll certainly be at that first game.
The recent narrow league defeat to Chelsea shows that you can compete with this side, irrespective of how good they are.
Yeah, we have to. That's the belief. We want to go and try and win the game. We've got to give everything to win the game. It's a one-off game, a cup game. We'll never get this chance again, to go and get to this semi-final season. It's not like it's league and you've got the next league game the week after. So we know exactly what's at stake. We know exactly what type of team we're facing. They're on a tremendous run. But we can't be bothered about that. It's a one-off game. We've got to just produce our own performance and look after what we do.
I mean, your former side, Barnsley, gave it a real go in the last round against Chelsea. Is there anything that you can sort of take from that performance in how they went at it and the problems that they caused Chelsea?
Churn the pitch up before we play on it. That's a bit... probably groundsman will kill me for that, but no, it's certainly a leveller, weren't it? But no, the biggest thing Barnsley did in that game, and the teams who've competed and made it difficult for them, it's been their energy, it's been the willingness to play on the front foot and go and get in Chelsea's face. But if I'm honest, Chelsea to me have gone up another level as well, so we need more than that. We need to have that energy, we need to have that discipline. Can't be embarrassed by trying to outwork them, but also when we get the ball, we have to be good enough to hurt them as well. And that's the emphasis, and that's the message that we've been trying to work on this week.
Yeah, because clearly they're still undefeated under Thomas Tuchel. How can you go and do what Athletico Madrid failed to do twice? Yeah,
top of the league, and it shows the size of the task, but it's also a one-off game, like I keep saying. Everyone wrote this team off before they went to Old Trafford, and pulled off a win there. So we know the size of the task, but we also know it's possible. That's it. Simple. If we didn't think it's possible, we may as well give them the round. So it's a fantastic experience, a great game to play in. And as I say, they don't come around very often. Don't matter how long your career is. Quarterfinals, the FA Cup don't come around often.
In terms of your priorities and your focus this week in training, the team's scored one goal in the last 6 games. Is that been high on your agenda in terms of how you can create and take those chances this weekend?
It's on our agenda. It's one of many things. You come in, so when I think you asked me before about experiences and how you approach it when you step in. There's so many things you'd like to work on, and we've had 3 days now. That's it. So it's one of many things, but you have to be really clear about what message you're putting out for the game, because if we spoke about every single thing that we either want to improve or want the players to understand, you'd have every player remembering one different thing and not improve performance at all. So we've tried to be really clear on the emphasis for this game in terms of Sheffield United outworking, out fighting them, being brave enough to play and pass the ball when we get the ball, and and just taking the opportunity that's in front of us.
Good luck this weekend, Paul.
Cheers, Adam.
Phil from PA.
Hello, Paul. I just wanted to check in terms, firstly, with McGoldrick, was it a knee injury that he kept him out last time?
Yeah, did he? Yeah, he should be. Well, he's trained today, so he should be okay. Yeah. We're hoping he's been down there with Watto now, and he's having a look at it. So hopefully, he'll ice it. He'll do the usual recovery that we should be doing after games, and we'll have him back on the grass again tomorrow.
And just also to check, there's nothing new that came out of the Leicester game injury-wise.
No, we've have your usual little niggles that you're getting in training, but we need to be getting players back rather than losing them.
And he's the only one that's got a chance to come back in out of the list that have been out. I was wondering how Jack Rodwell. Wasn't quite sure of the details.
Yeah, Jack's still quite a bit away. As I say, rather than be me getting a brief on the injuries and the status, but I've just asked for dates off Watto. Watto's given me a list of sort of dates when we can expect them back, and Jack's towards the back end of the season.
I also just wondered how Phil Jagielka was after obviously the awful news that his family got this week.
Yeah, Jags is wanting normality. He's been fining about training. Us as a team of staff and players just want to be there for him and give him whatever he needs, and that's it really. The focus, he wants to focus on the football, and I'd ask that from you guys as well, to just keep the focus on the football for Phil and his family, because we don't know what he's going through and what emotions, but we do know we can support him and give him everything he needs to get through this.
He wants to be involved with the weekend, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's been training, he's been fine. We'll keep working with him and pushing it, but Phil wants that normality, like I say, and to be left alone about it, if I'm honest. So we can do that for him. We can give him a nice, safe place to come, and somewhere where he can be amongst his friends.